Tokyo, the world's largest city, is still growing. It is a city filled with people whose ideas, desires, and dreams have spread to every corner of the world. The city is always in motion. It is bursting with energy, with light. But there are also shadows, a blackness in its soul. And this is one such fearful place of darkness. 1,000 years ago, a man rose against his brutal emperor and tried to build utopia here on the Kanto plain. But before he could realize his aim, this hero died in battle. His name was Taira no Masakado, and his remains lie in this burial ground. His spirit, slumbering at peace, has become the guardian deity of Tokyo. But should he be disturbed, his desire for revenge against the imperial court which slew him would be unleashed. And this revenge would extend to the city which harbors the emperor. At the beginning of this century, there was a man, a demon, who desired the destruction of the city, and chose as his instrument of destruction the spirit of Masakado, woken from its long sleep.
Thanks, man. I'll take it from here. Welcome to Doom Megaopolis, the story of where the spirit that lies beneath the earth rises towards the light. Or, in less cryptic terms, the coming of the devil to Tokyo to do what you already know he's coming to do. I don't really care for the story on this. I just want to showcase and appreciate how eye-strikingly pleasing this anime is, and salute its immaculately directed delivery, which I expect no less of a work put out by early toei animation under the supervision of Taro. Man, this one has such a cinematically appeasing vibe to it, and you'll notice it from the time you put it on. I mean, did you hear the intro right there? Megaopolis sits in a weird spot in anime's history. As most of you know, probably close to all of you have at least heard of it, but it's not as well received, really, talked about, as many other OVAs from the same year and time period. This leaves it a mystery to me, as it's one of the better art styles and animations to drop back then. Plot-wise, it's obviously rather generic, and its characters are not as lively. I still walked away from this thoroughly amused. It opted to pump a lot of different elements into its packaging to make up for its predictable plot progression. There's a lot going on screen throughout the few hours you watch this. Through and through, the show's rich with occult symbolism from the chessboard floors, spirits, blood sacrifices, the one eye I'm always talking about, pentagons, all cohesively with, of course, the natural destruction that comes with Doomsday. Damn near every character here has the look of, I wouldn't say pure evil, but I've seen Satanists in real life, and the soulless look they got was very familiar to me, even though this is supposed to be fictional. All that being said, by the end of the first episode, there's 4 of them and they're 40 minutes each. I was pretty surprised how much content was left, considering how much I just saw. Commendable also is the ability the OVA has at going in and out of being bright and fairly happy to dark and gritty again, seamlessly. This easily could have ruined the cohesiveness of the energy and progression of the experience, but I found it kept me on my toes the whole time. Thematically, this may be one of the OVAs that stand out for how much effort was put into its production to execute its theme. It kinda reminds me of another heavily beefed up OVA called Giant Robo the Animation, where there's so much going on it's actually overwhelming. And it just gets heavier and heavier the more you watch. By the 3rd episode, when dragons start getting in the mix of the story and portals get open and the ultimate battle with Kado takes place, you start to really see how much effort went into this. There are many occult-oriented anime out there. I did a video on the 2 Megami Tensei OVAs back in 2021, the Devilman OVAs from the 80s, Saint Tail has light esotericism, but this one has got to be the one that really drove the knife into the flesh and rubbed it in. Aside from the things I mentioned earlier, another telltale sign a mangaka knows what they're doing when doing demonology stories is how they write the characters to behave with all this happening. The girl of interest here, her name's Yukari, shows all the telltale signs of a person under spiritual attack. Random moments of aloofness, health issues, bad dreams and weird visions, and an overall general presence of disassociation and distorted reality. Heads up, when you watch this, don't get what I'm saying mixed up with the actual plot focus. All of these are things that surround it. I just found the story too underwhelming to focus on for this video though. But the one thing I want to add on when it does come to the story, or not even the story as a whole, but certain moments of the story, there was a resonating moment put in here that I really felt connected with, and what I noticed about my own experiences in the so-called spiritual realm. See, oftentimes I dream and see, and might even say feel, things in my dreams that automatically vanish when I wake up. I wholeheartedly believe the vivid dreams and experiences I have are in fact really happening, but taking place in the world where my spirit visits in slumber, not this physical avatar one. Which is why I'm never able to bind the two together like when lucid dreaming. Anyways, the thoughts I just described and often think about is somewhat pondered on in this anime.
The demon we're both quite sure we saw was, in my opinion, not a manifestation of the supernatural, but in fact some kind of optical energy. We were able to experience it even though it has no physical form. That was the reason there's nothing in the photograph.
What's to be done then?
If we attempt to block off the flow of energy, we'll merely make things worse when the pressure which is being built up eventually bursts through. It must be channeled off gently, but no man can do that.
Then what do you suggest?
I also checked out the live-action adaptation for this called Tokyo, The Last Megalopolis. Megaopolis. Got about 15 minutes in and it bored me to death, and I feel the only thing necessary to be consumed from this franchise is probably the OVA, though I never read the novel or anything. Speaking of which, unlike its source material, historical fantasy novel Taito Monogatari by Hiroshi Aramata, this joint is much more raw, dark, and holds no punches. And even with all of that clumped into it, only the first 30% or so of the novel was adapted. If you're a Satanist or something like that, this might end up being your favorite anime of all time, and has enough for you to be prompted to re-watch it from time to time. Me personally, I watched this at 2 AM and started falling asleep towards the end of the second episode, not because it was boring or anything, but you know, it's 2 o'clock in the morning, and had the craziest sleep paralysis and odd dreams. So that'll be my first and last time seeing this. Yeah, all in all, Doom Megaopolis is one to be enjoyed for all, but it has its moments where you wonder if it's spiritually healthy to be watching. I'm deadass for real on that note, but oh well, do what you want to do. Like the video, comment down below what y'all want to see next. I'm out. Thanks for watching. Anime back when.